Hi, welcome back to my page. If it's your first time here, my name is Nico Nicole, and this page is Give This Girl a Mic. We have usually I'm like 10-minute little snippets, but we have a good amount of time today to talk about a few of the hot topics that's going on. Ooh, that's Fenty. Look at that. I love Fenty. So we have it could be an hour, it could be 45 minutes. It just depends on how fast we get through these topics and how much chat you want to chat, because sometimes y'all be chatty catties. Y'all talk about I'm the yapper, y'all are the yapper too. So it's up to you guys in the chat today how much you want to get into stuff. But I do have like a little list, so if you see me looking, I'm looking at my handy dandy notebook. Okay. Okay. The pad. iPad. So I had bought this iPad specifically for this page too. Just to kind of go over with you guys. If you guys want a little bit of background, I do have right now two pages primarily. One is Pretty Politico. So anything we talk politics, I will be editing out of this live later and putting on that page. It's called Pretty Politico. And then I have this one here where we talk pop culture. Because you know those are two totally different audiences. So you're sitting there talking pop culture and you start talking about politics, it's like the algorithm will send you to a whole nother realm. So I try to keep them pretty separately, especially if I'm doing a live. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about just a few things. First things first, if you're looking for something to watch on television, I implore you to watch His and Hers. It's starring Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal from A Bronx Tale. Child, he reminds me of the guy from A Bronx Tale so much. And I was thinking about the guy from A Bronx Tale. Oh, on this page, we go off on tangents. I was thinking about the guy from Bronx Tale. His name, I wrote it down. His name is Caligrio in the movie. And then it's Lilo Brancato in real life. Hi, Twin C Pun. He reminds me so much of this guy. And I feel like if he didn't get into like the drugs and all that stuff, his career would have had the same trajectory as this guy whose name is what's the guy name? John Bernthal. That's the guy in the movie. And I love that movie. So His and Hers with Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal. It's a suspense, a will they, won't they, who done it type of situation. And I have two opinions. It was very good. Hi Terry, how you doing? It was very good, extremely suspenseful. But I was trying to predict it. Like, I'm one of the people that loves to predict the movies. Like, I'm a millennial, so we used to have like the at the end of the DVD, they used to have like the what do you call it, the director's cut, and or in the back of our CDs, we used to have like all the writing of what the musician was thinking about, like their little booklet. So I always like deep dives. You know, if you don't know, most millennials are like essayists on YouTube, which, you know, you guys know my favorite YouTuber is FD Signifier. Hi. And so, yeah, so basically what that it led me to really think when I was watching this show. So in the beginning, I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, but just know it's about a man and a woman who come back together, and they are trying to figure out this murder mystery in this small town. The woman, who has been very much estranged from her town for many, many years, goes back into her town as a news reporter and tries to solve this murder. And I will also watch, if you guys go on my shorts, I watched All Her Fault. I didn't really say much because I feel like I'm a yapper, so anything I say is going to ruin the show for y'all. But if you want me to do like a deep dive on that, I will do that one too. So it's similar to that. This reminds me of like Hunting Wives mixed with All Her Fault, mixed with, you know, those type of will they, won't they shows, mixed with what's that show on HBO, you know, when they be in the resorts. It's all of that mixed in one. And one thing I will say is these type of shows, at the end of them these days, they kind of come off a little cheesy, a little tongue in cheek. So, and I have a theory of why that is. So you guys know, us millennials, we were Goosebump kids. And you remember the Goosebumps books, how sometimes at the end, am I thinking about the right book? At the end of the book, you can choose the different gory ending. Remember? So I think that's how they leave things off. Hi, Cookie. How you doing? Thank you for the love. Thank you. Get the chat out there. I appreciate that. So it reminds me so much of Goosebumps books because it's almost like they leave you with you can go wherever you want this story to go. Obviously, at the end of this particular story, they give you an ending like a like I saw some of it coming. I was like, oh yeah. And there's no character. I love those shows where everybody's guilty. There's no innocent characters in it. Just kind of like all her fault. Yeah, y'all gotta like this. So, and they made it like a 2-part kind of thing, even though it's not broken into 2 part. But I think it's only like 6 episodes. So they expect you to watch 3 and then watch another 3. So it's literally binger. And I had my mom here. My mom is like, I don't want to claim dementia, nothing, thinking she ain't been diagnosed. But you know, and I know when your parents start getting like my mom is a feisty woman like me, and so she's not feisty no more at all. She's like, okay, whatever, sure. And so her my stepdad passed away a few years back, 2 years back actually. It's very recent, and I feel like she was good for like a couple of months after he passed. I don't think the realization, but then this year she just declined. So I was like, I just try to find stuff that like will stimulate her mind a little bit to get her back to herself and excited and talking and stuff. And honey, she was like stuck in that show, and she was like asking questions like, "What?" And I love that because, like I said, she don't ask no questions no more. She don't really talk no more. Hi, Hannah. How you doing? Where you guys from? Where you guys from? Are you guys from the U.S.? Are you guys from other places? I do use VPN sometimes, so I don't even know if I have it on right now. Let me see where my VPN is set to. Oh, I'm in the U.S., so my VPN is in the U.S. right now. So yeah, you guys might be from the U.S. Let me know where you're from. If you're from the U.S., that's the only thing I don't like about the Teyana stuff. It leaves these white things as you're talking, but I do love a Fenty product because the way it makes your lips feel, honey. Portugal. Okay, are you into soccer, football, as you call it? What's your team? Portugal is your team? Who plays for Portugal? Is it Ronaldo and Messi on one of those teams? Who plays? Or is he gonna wait? Which team does Messi play for? Is it Argentina? I forget. Lionel Messi plays for Argentina. Yeah, Miami. Okay, so somebody who does Ronaldo play for? You're supporting. Thank you. Oh, that's where you're from. Is it from supporting or are you just supporting? No. Oh, Sporting is the name of the team. Sporting CP Portugal. Okay. I have to ask my husband about that because he's into Arsenal. So his favorite player is Messi, which is they're not Arsenal player, but that's his favorite player on. And I forgot the guy who his favorite player on Arsenal is. It's like a guy who not playing no more from back in the day. And then my daughter, funny fact, her middle name is Andreas, named after Messi, because I think Messi's middle name is also Andreas, or that might be his first name. Yeah, no. So his name is Lionel Andres Messi, and so obviously she's a girl, so we put an A on it. So we did her first name Andreas, and then her last name. So she is like an ode to Messi. So if she ever meets Messi, and then we have her in like football too. So she's a Messi girl right now, literally and figuratively, because I'm on Messi. But yeah. So back to the show. So yeah. So the end of the show is a twist and turn that I did not expect. It was also another thing that was great because I will give you one spoiler, and I don't know if this spoiler is spoiler gonna spoil it. Do y'all care? Okay, I'll just say it. So the mom is a you like Ronaldo too? Yeah, that's my husband. Two favorites, Messi and Ronaldo. So I'm sure that's like most people's, right? And then, but I'm a Jersey girl from America, so my favorite team is American football, and I'm a Dallas Cowboy girl. Woo! We love them boys. So Tessa and John. Well, in the movie, I forget their names in the movie. I don't remember. But Harper and something else. Harper and I don't remember. But so the mom plays a pivotal part, and it was awesome because when you see the mom, she just has dementia just like my mom. So it was like actually really like nice for my mom to watch this woman kind of, you know, do her thing and support her daughter. So if you guys are looking for something to watch this weekend, His and Hers, Tessa Thompson, and John Benthal. It's such a good show. You're gonna binge watch it. So that's one thing I want to talk about today. The next is we talked about a little bit Brooklyn. What's his name? Brooklyn. Dang, what's them people name? Posh Spice. Beckham, Brooklyn Beckham, and we talked about his wife Nicola and Victoria Beckham. And y'all seen that video of Victoria like shutting Nicola away. So I told y'all yesterday that I had a similar situation with my mother-in-law. I ain't trying to get into that today. But what I did want to get into is oh, you don't remember. And so what I did want to get into today is how similar they are to Meghan Markle and Harry. So Meghan Markle and Harry, right? Like, I feel like I've read some of the spare. I didn't get through the whole thing, but in the book he talks about this, like how in the book he starts with saying that his whole life he's been the shadow kid, the just in case kid, and it was very known to him that if something happens to your brother William, then you will be the spare, like a spare tire on the car. If the tire pops, you're going to be the replacement. He felt like his whole life he had no particular value to anybody in the royal family except to be the spare. That's why he never really cared about his life, because he didn't feel like there was any value to his life except the moments where he was loved by his mom, who made sure that him and William loved each other equally and he wasn't like shunned. And obviously she died at a young age for him. And then the second time he felt like acceptance and love in his life is when he started doing his missionaries overseas in Africa and, you know, hanging with us black folk, because we always make people feel loved. And then the third time he felt loved in his life was with Meghan Markle, when she made him feel accepted, made him feel really loved and cared about. And so when he ran into them situation, and he was abused at them like schools and everything, and meanwhile his brother was like praised, like, oh, the king is coming, the future king is coming. But Harry, when Harry would come in, they were like, boy, take the bags. Like, not to that extent, but that's how that he basically described it in the book. Like, he was literally tossed to the side, especially after his mom died. Like, he got no care, no nurturing, no love from anybody. It was like a cold world. And then you have this warmth of like love flush in the embodiment of Meg, but because she wasn't the right skin color, she was harassed, and he had like flashbacks because he always vowed like, if they could do this to my mom, then they could do this to her. And so he always vowed like, I'm going to take care of my mom. I mean, my wife in the same way that I wish somebody had taken care of my mom. So that's kind of what I see with Brooklyn Beckham in the same respect. So it feels like Brooklyn Beckham is saying like, look, I see how media has tarnished my family. I see how much impact they've had on my family, and it effectively me too as a man. So I feel like if I ever have a family, and obviously he's married this woman, he's thinking about having children with this woman, and I know all the rumors about Gigi Hadid's brother and how the mom and her didn't get along in that situation, but she's also, her father's a billionaire, so there's a certain entitlement and like audacity she has about herself, but she doesn't have to just go along to get along for any man, because her daddy will spoil her. And Steve Harvey said it, not that he's a moral compass or anything, but he was talking about his daughters and how like he spoils his daughters and makes sure that no man can come in there and just try to get up in their pants, get up in their way without making sure they're spoiled. And you see how Lori Harvey, I saw a video of her today walking from what's his name? I don't remember her what's his name? You know, the little boyfriend she with, very, very famous boyfriend she's with in Britain. And she was like kind of giving him the attitude today. And I think girls like that who got daddies at home that's going to spoil them, they don't really need a man like that. And I think that's what's happening with Nicola. Like, Victoria is usually the biggest superstar. But honestly, Brooklyn has married into a very, very wealthy family that doesn't need nothing from the Beckhams. There's nothing they could do for her. Like, unlike Harry's situation, he still needed the royal family. He still needed protection of the royal family. But there's nothing that Brooklyn Beckham needs that Nicola's dad cannot provide because he is a billionaire. So that kind of allows you to not only step up, but protect that entity that you've created, and also kind of, give your parents the little F you if you can, because you already surpassed what your dad can do by marrying into a family of riches. So it's kind of that situation. So it's like, I'm not going to let you destroy this good thing that I have going for you. Be it if they, as the parents, see it as like, oh, she's toxic, she's not going to be good for you. He, as a man, has made the decision that he wants to be with this woman. And at the end of the day, there's nothing nobody can do about it. My mom always used to say, a son is a son until he takes a wife. A daughter is a daughter for the rest of her life. She will always be up under her daddy, and he was and Brooklyn Beckham in turn, because he's created a wife and a life. He will always go find the good thing. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. He will always be more attracted to his family, especially if she get a baby out of him in the next year or two. So that's kind of and that's what happened with Harry. Harry probably would have had, not saying he didn't love his wife, but maybe if he didn't have kids with her, there wouldn't be like that fierce protection. He already felt like in protection of her because of the warmth and the love that she provided for him that he lacked from them cold-hearted castles. But on top of that, when she gave him his little look-alike, because his son and daughter looks just like him, because Meghan Markle is biracial, so that one drop rule was one dropping. It was literally like barely a drop of us in there. So them kids are basically essentially white people, and they look just like Harry. And so that's what he's protecting. He don't give a damn about his father. He don't give a damn about William and any of them over in the royal family. He is trying to effectively, and then if you think about it, even though Meghan Markle isn't as successful as Brooklyn's wife Nicola, she has her own motion going on over here in the U.S. When shit hit the fan, Harry was like, oh, I'm sorry. My family going to the media begging, crying. Meghan Markle was on the phone like, what up, Tyler Perry? What up, though, Oprah? She was able to call them connections. So she might not have what Nicola has in terms of wealth, but she does have what Nicola has in terms of wealth of connections, because of that warm personality that Harry fell in love with. So she was able to call up. Tyler Perry said, cool, let's get you in this house. And now Harry in that house over there watching birds until they were able to do book tour. What is it? Katy Perry, not Katy Perry. Lady Gaga say, tours, buses, vans, another party. Like, they basically had to hustle to get themselves back up. And then once they were up and stuck. Now you see them getting invited to this and this, and people going to complain either way. So what Garvey, I call him Gary V, but Garvey, you know what I'm talking about. He's the guy who's like the guru of social media. He created the liquor company. He always says, when you are getting into this world that we're in right now, the currency is your digital footprint. And they can say her stuff isn't selling, her show isn't doing good, the ratings aren't good. But guess what? She doesn't not only have a digital footprint, she has a worldly impact. So Meghan Markle is rich in her impact. If she says something, it's going to go viral. People are going to get mad. If she says nothing and just shows up in a pretty dress, people are going to get mad. If she shows up in a magazine cover, people are going to get mad. And that leads to clicks. And clicks leads to impact and influence. Because even though you are hating on her, there are supporters of her, like myself, who are going to say, oh, I didn't know she had stuff out. Thank you, haters. Let me go grab that magazine. Oh, I didn't know she had a show. Thank you, haters. Like, I did not know she had a Netflix show. Until the haters are my motivators type stuff. And I said, oh my God, Meghan Markle has a show. Let me go watch it. Now I'm on season 2 or 3, whatever we're on. And she does such thoughtful gifts, and like, she's just such a presence online. So that is the currency Meghan Markle brings to Harry. The currency that Nicola brings to Brooklyn is that damn daddy, that billionaire. So I think that in and of itself license a man to say, hold on, I'm gonna show up for mine. And I'm gonna put this wicked witch in her place. And if we're being honest, if the track record proves itself, whose side are you on? Brooklyn or Victoria and we didn't even, it's always the woman, right? It's always the women because her energy, like you could tell when I forgot the Beckham daddy. I don't know all them British people, y'all, but with the Beckham daddy, he was like so happy when Brooklyn came in the car. He was like about to grab his hand from the back, and Victoria was like, mm. And so it was giving very much posh spice, which is so ironic because everybody tells me that she did not grow up on a posh side of town. She just had that demeanor about herself. But she's an Aries like myself, so we can come off like that, unfortunately. Even though we're super down to earth. And she might be right, because if she is an Aries, usually our picker is never, ever off. It might not happen today, tomorrow, or the next week, but usually our picker is always on time. Like, when we don't like somebody, yeah, it comes out. So that is like my little rap for Brooklyn. But that, as I was talking about Brooklyn, and I'm talking fast because the last 3 days I've had to hurry up and rush this stuff and get this information out to you because I was on the way to pick up baby girl, and I still am, but I got a good amount of time, so I can like slow it down a little bit. So the next thing that made me think, as I'm talking about Brooklyn and Harry and Meghan and Nicola situation with the whole Victoria Beckham of it all, it made me think about Christy and Desmond. If you guys don't know, we talked about them 2 or 3 days ago. They're going through first of all, they're another couple who their haters are their motivated, because honey, I didn't know these people. I did see a few things with them on social media, but it was never a following them thing, never a clicked on their page thing. I just saw this goofy man like at this girl's flips and twists and this, and so I was like, okay, that's weird. I'm too grown for this. So I would like just keep on scrolling by. I had nothing negative to say about their little thing, and I had nothing positive about their thing. It was just like, okay, they doing the most. And I just kept it moving. But come find out, you know, where there's glitter and all that twisting and turning, there's you know, where there's glitter, there, what's that? I don't know, I lost my mind today, y'all. I gotta take some ashwagandha. But that helps with your brain clarity. So where there's glitter, there's gold, or something. Where there's smoke, there's fire, whatever you want to say. So that is basically their situation. So I had, what I wrote here, I said, I had this epiphany the other day that she probably knew the video was coming out with him kissing a girl. And I wrote, she probably knew the video was coming out. TMZ could have agreed with compensation to release it after the news of the divorce. Now, this is all allegedly, because this is just all from my mind. I said, it makes sense, just like the Dami and India situation on Love Island. Dami and situation happened earlier in December. If you guys don't know, they're like a beautiful big couple in London and Love Island, UK. And girl, India made a best heartbreaker win, was kissing this man, honey, yes, and got caught, and the video was leaked because some girl leaked the video. So in that situation, it happened in December, but it wasn't released until a week before Love Island All-Stars premiered. And I think it was just to get all the eyes back on Love Island All-Stars. And I think it's the same thing with this Christy and Desmond situation. I think everything with her is extremely strategic. And you can tell with him, he's just trying to like pick up the pieces. I think her PR probably informed her of the Desmond video, and I think TMZ, just like the girl in the interview, she said that the girl in the video kissing Desmond said TMZ had called her a few days before the video was released and told her that it was coming out, and said if she wanted to make a statement. You don't think they called Christy and said the same thing? You don't think they called Desmond and said the same thing? He just was sitting there like, let me go make some butter. Let me go churn some butter. Okay, let me post some butter pictures. So it was weird. His reaction, he needs Christy so bad. But the good news for him is, in his devious, devilish ways, he's managed to flip all the girls on the internet, all the pick-me-mishas, and make them side with him, which is crazy because he's just a good-looking man. It's like the Drake thing. Everybody was still siding with Drake until Kendrick said, not like us. How you get literally like siphon him, you know, Goku'd him, whatever you want to say. It's crazy. So that's the same thing. The light-skinned pretty boys, they tend to get passes. Even with Tyreek, he's not light-skinned per se, but Tyreek from Love Island, he's a menace, but he's funny and he's very, very handsome. So people let him get a pass for all his wrongdoings, and that tends to happen in them situations because he is a very, very tall, very, very handsome man. So all the girl is like, I'm so happy he's single. She's so annoying. I knew they were gonna break up. And it's really like, y'all, get a fucking grip. Like, are you kidding me? This girl has just been cheated on with the love of her life since she was from high school. She just turned 30 years old, which is a peak time in your life. Like, it's just a sad overall situation. Thank God she did have her kids young, because once you start getting into your 30s, they start saying your pregnancy is geriatric and all that stuff. So it gets a little tricky. And not saying 30 is old at all, but I'm just saying that's how doctors start talking to you. Like, hold on, you about to have a geriatric pregnancy. So luckily she already had her son, so she just want to be single the rest of her life. If I can't have you, I'll just be single for the rest of my life. But I mean, I'm sure she won't be. I'm sure she got everybody in her DMs. And I think her pop out is going to be epic. Whatever she does, she did pop out already with a little bang, yang, 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 which was cute. And then she also put same address, prompting Desmond to feel some type of way, and then dropped that little video, or the video dropped with the TMZ. But it could have been her planning that, right? Her PR planning to do the same address, drop the video, let the crowd know she's okay, and then drop this video of this evil man and villainize him even more. But it kind of backfired in a way, because nobody's villainizing him. Everybody's saying, way to go, he seems so happy. But it's like, oh, they're like, I knew this divorce was going to happen. But it's also very messed up, because he could have been the one to do the divorce if it was that bad. And I don't think it was that bad, because January 6th, he posted that video saying, me as a husband, and he was paid a promotion for that video, and he would have kept that facade up forever, as men tend to do. I think the only thing that prompted him to move on is Christy filing for that divorce. I think if she'd ever filed for the divorce, he would have sat in that house collecting them checks forever. Collecting them checks forever. So I think in a way, it was a blessing that this video came out. It was a blessing that this happened to her while she's still young, because some women don't find out this stuff till many, many years later, because men have, like, a lot of people, we all wear masks. I was talking about this the other day after listening to Jim Carrey talk about his persona as Jim Carrey, and how we're all living in this avatar of ourselves, essentially. Like, there's the person who we are behind the scenes when we're just ourselves, and then there's a person who we present to the world, the person who gets up, does their hair, puts the rings on, and just things, adding things of meaning to yourself, right? And even I remember my mom used to say, white people don't wear jewelry. She's like, notice white people don't have to wear jewelry. She's like, black people love gold, but white people don't have to wear jewelry. And I say, what does that mean? And she say, yeah, because white people's skin is their gold. And so, but we add meanings onto things, right? So we've added meaning onto what white skin means. We've added meaning onto what these jewelries and bracelets and necklaces means, and to what Afro hair means. We've added meaning to a lot of things. And sometimes we can show up as ourselves, and then we show up as a manifestation of ourselves, or we can show up as our authentic selves. So, and I think that's what we're going to see as this butterfly of a transformation is going to happen with Christy. Like, she doesn't know herself, and neither does Desmond. I don't wish ill on any of them. Like, I wish the best for both of them. But I do think we're going to see in both ways, we're either going to see for Desmond, I feel like right now he's in that transition of putting on this mask, like taking off the mask, right, initially for Christy behind the scenes, and then having to put this mask on for social media. And now he has to be this cool, hip guy, where he's not. He's like a Jehovah Witness little geeky guy. So now he has to put on this, I'm cool mochi, I'm kissing girls in the club. That's the snow, y'all. And I'm all that in a bag of chips, which that's not his vibe. His vibe is also a geeky, corny. That's why he liked Christy jokes, while we thought Christy jokes was corny, because he's corny. And it's like when you go to college and you meet them guys, and it's like pre-fraternity and then post-fraternity boy. Like, you meet them, they be so cool. And you be like, oh my God, you're so nice. Oh my God, you're the best boy ever. And then they join a frat and they become complete dicks and jerks. Yeah, that's how I feel like that's gonna be like, that's how I see Desmond trajectory potentially happening versus what we see with Christy. I think she's gonna, because she's had to put on and do all this like, you know what I mean, it's been a lot. I think we're gonna see, she's a Taurus, she don't give a damn. Like, I think we're gonna see a lot of calmness to her. I think we're gonna see a lot of peaceful content from her, and I think we're gonna see her have a lot of fun, more fun than we've ever seen her have. Hopefully, she travels more because she has been in the house with them two little boys. But they can go stay with their daddy now, and she can go. All right. So hopefully we see her do that. Hopefully when she does pop out with her guy, it's not just some random man she kissing on the couch like Desmond, but hopefully it's some real fine, real good. And even if she don't end up with nobody and just ends up with herself, hopefully it's just a beautiful outpouring of an impouring of love, right? You want to pour into yourself, and I hope that is like her transformation, her metamorphosis, like that book Metamorphosis. I used to be creeped out by that book, but I also love that book, and I think about it often. It's like, he, in order to have the metamorphosis, he was locked up in a room. He had access to nobody. He had all these loved ones out there, but he was ashamed of what he was turning into, right? And then he turned into this big ugly beetle, and he was like a monster. And sometimes that's what I think is going to happen with Desmond. Like, he's going to isolate himself so much that he might turn into this big ugly beetle that he does not want to turn into. And on the flip side, hopefully for Christy, she comes out of this because they're trying to turn her into the big ugly monster, the big ugly beetle on the internet. But hopefully at the end of it, she manifests herself into a beautiful, beautiful butterfly, and she's free, and she's able to just maybe do music, harness this power, and do something really productive with it. I mean, she's already doing that with, like, how many does she have? Like 17 point. I saw it last night. I don't remember. It was like, let me see. Christy Scott. How many followers does she have over her platforms? From Christy Scott to Christy Sarah, which I think was good. Tens of millions. She has over 20 million combined. So she has 16 million at TikTok. She has 10 million on Instagram. So yeah, I mean, this girl is rocking and rolling. So she's gonna be okay, right? And then I think he has like 1.6 million, which is also very impressive. So for the average guy. So he's gonna be okay too. But I just hope that he doesn't manifest into that ugly beetle, and he actually turns himself into something productive and useful. So we're gonna do that. So all right, let's go to did I have any more topics? Oh, a little bit, but not really. I was thinking about one battle after another. The whole Halle Berry talk of it all. Look, I didn't watch one battle after another. I had a feeling that it wouldn't be my cup of tea. But I did watch 1,000 Roses or something like that she had, and that movie has stuck with me. And I'm gonna give y'all all the spoilers for this one. It was basically it was basically a young girl who became the mom to this little boy, this street boy, who was abandoned by his own mother, who was on drugs or whatever. And so she just took a liking to this kid, and like, and she became his mom essentially, and she literally raised this little boy until he was like, I think 17 or 18 years old, probably 18 because the movie kind of ends around that age. It's just a beautiful testament to, I don't know, I grew up in a urban neighborhood, and so it's that testament to that 90s urban mom, like when you see them just making it happen. And it's sad because I feel like a lot of us as millennials, we're not able to make it happen the way they were making it happen because things are so like astronomically expensive now. But I feel like back then, like you can make do with because there was more caring people. She had a lot of people come in and support her and help her and things like that. And so I feel like at a certain point, like he became growing up and like resenting her because he felt like she was holding him back from opportunities because she never had her paperwork together. You know what I'm saying? And she was just trying to make it $1 out of 15 cents. She didn't have time to keep up with this and keep up with track up with paperwork and this and this and this. And then I don't want to ruin it completely, but at the end, it's a big twist, and you realize why she couldn't keep up with the paperwork, right? And then instead of like, basically he decided to protect her. because of the love she's had for him, and it just helped him, like it woke him up to like the realities of the cruelties of the world, and how just like people helped her put herself in a position to help her son, he realized I gotta put myself in a position to help my mom, you know? And that's how I feel about Teyana Taylor. Like I feel like a person that could do a movie like that is tapped in to the source. Like you can't take it from her. We can say I didn't watch it. I didn't watch one battle after another, but watching that movie and just watching the trajectory of her career and in her interviews, I watch every Teyana Taylor interview, and she talks about being unprotected in the industry and how she trusted Pharrell, she trusted Kanye, and she was this little 14, 15-year-old girl, and these grown men told her she would get protected, and she did not get protected. And then you fast forward to, again, her doing a movie where she had to protect this little boy. And then you fast forward to her getting these opportunities. She got no opportunities. She was making music on her own, putting these songs out that were flopping. But she said, I'm still going to do what I got to do. I'm going to choreograph for Beyonce. If I'm allowed in the room, I'm going to make space for myself in those rooms, right? She created her own opportunities. When the men said they were going to give her the opportunities at 14 and 15, and they did not, she said, I'm going to make and take my opportunity, because y'all not going to just leave me here stranded, because I know I'm going to be somebody. And that's why I love Teyana Taylor. So if in this movie she's portraying like a monster's ball situation, and I hear she's like this revolutionary, obviously I saw a clip, she's pregnant, she's sleeping with all these white men, I know the gist of it. I'm proud of her for that, because to me it's almost like she's stripping herself down and saying to herself, I'm going to come and take everything. And she's the villain in this movie, I hear too. I'm taking everything back for me. And she got the Golden Globe. And she's probably going to get the the Oscar. And she did a soundtrack to this, so she's probably going to get an Oscar as well. A Grammy as well. So I'm just proud of the trajectory. If you know where she came from, you will celebrate where she's been. Like, you will celebrate where she's going, because she has been through so much in Hollywood. And I think one battle after another is like literally a culmination of all the things that she went through. She did Tyler Perry movies, several, even up until recently. And she's been getting it through the mud. So I cannot fault her for taking on a role with Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn, no matter how major or minor the role was, right? And yes, you can say, where's her MVP? I'm all about that on this page. Where's your morals, your values, and your principles, right? Where's your MVP? But at the end of the day, she always been out of the box, right? She never did things that people expected her to do. So this is nothing short of that either. And I hear that it's extremely dystopian, Octavia Butler-ish. So I don't see it being something that, she thought too deeply about. I think she was just probably more excited about getting the opportunities to be this year's sweetheart, this diamond of the season, essentially. And for that, I am proud of her. I will eventually watch the movie, but I don't know. Lately, I'm not really been into Leonardo DiCaprio movies. He kind of having the same roles to me over and over. But I will eventually get into the movie and see it. And so this leads me to think about people who have been working hard but are not getting the recognition, like Michael B. Jordan. Shout out to Jersey. We love you, Michael B. So people like him who deserve the opportunities, and we were just talking about Steve Harvey and the daughter and all that, and Desmond, whoever she's with, earlier in this chat. And so men like him and Ryan Coogler are not necessarily getting the recognition, but what I do notice that they're getting their brains picked. I wrote this note down. I said, they're studying him real bad. They're trying to pick his brain so much. His camera angles, his lighting. I've never seen so much info about a director before on public media. Obviously, directors write books. They do master classes and things like that. But I've never seen people trying to get free game from a director so much. Like even Steven Spielberg back in his day, he would put things in his movies. But in the back of the credit, you would have to get a documentary about it. It would be like exclusive content. They're like taking Ryan Coogler and having him do those one-on-ones with Spike Lee to tell all his business. They have him in this DVD shop telling all his favorite movies. It's like the stuff they need to be paying for from him. They're trying to get free game out of him, and they're like sucking his brain dry. I even saw I forgot what movie I was platform I was watching on YouTube, but they were asking like what exact angles he used in Sinners. Like what? I've never seen them ask them type of questions. Like they don't just want to. It's like what Elon Musk and someone else said in their like Epstein files. They were talking about how Epstein said this, I think, and Elon Musk has said this in certain ways too. Or a lot of the right wingers say this. They talk about how brilliant and strong black minds are, but we are too dumb to utilize our minds, right? Too dumb, even though they had us as a slave for all them years. And we couldn't read legally in America. And look how far we've come with all that. But whatever. They say we don't use our strengths. And I think that's why they write these movies like Avatar and write these movies like Marvel or DC Comics, which are all based on like, you know, a lot of black historical figures and things like that. Because I think there's an obsession with like, if I had those powers, what would I do with them? If I had the brawn and the strength and the brain and the beauty and the of the black person, what would I do with them? They would they like Pinky in the Brain. I would want to take over the world. That's what they would do with them. But God would not give it to them, right? Because that's just not how life works. God makes room for your gifts. And if you are going to use those gifts for bad, evil, it's like what Warren Buffett said. He said, never do business with the bad guy. If a guy is a bad guy, I'm not going to do business with you. That's what Warren Buffett said. He said, only do business, because if you do business with a bad guy, he said, they're going to do bad practices. You think the contract's going to hold up if you're doing business with a bad guy? And that's what we see with what's his face, right? Mr. Orange Man. He do bad practices because he don't give a damn, because he's already say hello to the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? He's already made his covenant with the devil, and so he's not going to try to he's not going to try to do right by nobody. And Warren Buffett said the bad guy, the bad man, they love litigation. And who's always in litigation? The Orange Man, Mr. Taco. He's always in litigation. And that's what Warren Buffett said. You cannot do business with those type of people. You know what I'm saying? So that's that on that. But yeah, I just noticed them taking from Ryan Coogler, and they want to pick his brain. And that's just like they want to pick black people's brain and don't understand why we so bright, why we so smart, why we so tall, why we so broad, why we so this, why we so that, but we don't use it to our advantage to take over. I don't know. Right? That's why they're studying the guy who wrote Project 2025 is studying African American history. He's literally has his PhD in African American history, because he wanted to know. If you noticed, a lot of the stuff they're doing is repealing the things from the 1960s. Because they're obsessed with black culture and how we do things. I remember watching a news report on MSNBC, or not, it's not MSNBC, it's on NBC, but it was it was before Trump came in. It was with Latino voters who are turning red. And it was before Trump got voted, but they were talking about how they were going to vote for Trump. And in it, one of the organizers of the Latinos was basically saying, if you guys want to know what I'm using, I forgot what this is called. Owen, I don't know. And then this is just some Bath and Body Works stuff. Aromatherapy, hot spring spa. And these two pair really well together. Like, basically smells fresh like the spa. Sometimes I just don't want to smell like or the bergamot and all those fancy things. I just want to smell like the laundry room, like clean. Anyway, neither here nor there. So, child, I forgot what I was saying. Grab it, hold it. I don't remember. But I was saying something about something. But yeah, we'll move on to my next topic. I think I just was wrapping up the Ryan Coogler of it all. And then the last thing I have written here was, I think I want to talk about Trump and how that's all affecting us, and how you don't do good practices with bad people because they love litigation and all that stuff. The last thing, it was going to be on Trump too, which is, is the problem. I think I figured it out. I did the math. And I can't put this on the screen because I don't know how to put things on the screen on here. Not sure. I got to figure that out. How do you put things on the screen on YouTube? Let me just start pressing. Oh, no, that just took a clip. Let me see. What did it do? That just turned my light on. I should have been had that on. That's pretty. No, that turned my video off. Okay. I don't know. But I wanted to put a graph up here because I found this graph today. That's one thing I'm not like about YouTube versus like TikTok. The editing app on TikTok is elite. So this is, can you guys see that? So I looked at the oldest presidents in the U.S. history. And the oldest president ever was Joe Biden, who at the end of his term was 78 years old. And Donald Trump, if he, survives, he will be now the oldest president to ever serve. So that's interesting. And I said, okay, so what's the average age of the president? The average age of the president is between 40 and, what was it, like 40? It was like 45 to 50, basically. So most presidents are really young. So if the average age of the president, let me just get the right number, because I can't remember. It was like 45. Average age of presidents when elected in the U.S. Okay, so the average age of a president, and this is probably skewed because of Trump and Biden, but prior to that, it was like the average age was about 45, right? And now the average age is 55, and that's probably because of the 70 years old that we have in office right now. So now, if the average age is 55, and we have Joe Biden and Trump, who are both in their late 70s, and we have everything messed up right now, the proof is in the pudding. We got to put an age limit on the presidency. Because at a certain age, they should not be in office. 70, 80 years old should not be in office because they really want to take us back. And they don't remember. They're so far gone. They're so far removed from their youth that they only remember the good. And you know how as you get older, you forget a lot of bad things that happened to you when you were young. You just remember the good. Let me use my daughter's chapstick. Really, truly. Because I love you, Fenty, but you done dried out my lips. I don't know what that be about. I don't know what that be about, Fenty. Come on, Rihanna. Get it together. But anyway. So, it made me think like, okay, why do we got these old ass presidents? We need younger presidents. The age limit, if the average president in America has been 55 years old, let me tell you how old Washington was. Hell. How Washington up here? Not up here. How old was Washington? How old was Washington when he became president? 57 years old. Come on, y'all. So Washington was only 57 years old. So these men are like 20 plus years older than the average president. They don't need to be presidents. I'm sorry. And this is why we're having all the problems, because they're out of touch and they're too far removed from reality that's going on with the world. There has to be a cap. Maybe the cap won't be 70. Maybe the cap will be just maybe the cap will be 65, right? No older than 65 years old for you to be president. Because at a certain point, your health is declining, your mental capability. Look at what happened. Remember, I just told y'all in the beginning of the chat, my mom is suffering from dementia. And she's losing some of the sassiness, but she do sometimes snap out and have that sassiness come out. And when she do, she act just like Trump. Meaning, she say what she want, how she want. I can only imagine when Nicki Minaj get older and she start having her dementia moments. It's going to be crazy. She's going to be talking all types of crazy to everybody, and that's what we see. Oh, you didn't give me the Nobel Peace Prize, so I'm about to start a war. What? I'm taking Greenland. What? Like, it's getting dangerous for us. the things that's going on with ICE in Minnesota, and them just and it's so funny how even the social media, they have it all planned out. And I'm sure if you guys are in my algorithm, I'm in your algorithm, so we're having the same kind of experience. So initially, I started seeing, I want to call it rogue or rude. This YouTuber page just came out of the blue, started doing research on Minnesota, and it was very interesting and very like piqued my interest. A week later, now we see ICE is in Minnesota. Right after this guy, it's like, and then the guy went somewhere else, and then ICE was there. Everywhere this guy had done a documentary to tell you all the ills and ilks and the problems of the state. The next week, you got these crazy raids with ICE. It was always like a propaganda agenda. And this is the thing, when you are a thinking person, you don't just accept things. I noticed that. I'm like, why? Now that I said, I bet you, and I remember when I seen, because I saw him go to maybe Texas or something first. He's been everywhere, like in the hoods of America, like that kind of YouTube page, or like in the rural parts. He went somewhere. Oh, the first video I ever seen of him was he went to the towns with the. This is around the time Trump is getting into it with Elon. He went to the towns with all the data centers, right? And he was talking about the data centers of America, how they're affecting our communities, and da 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 da. I was like, oh my God, this is such a good, journalistic exploration. I was like, good for him. So I'm watching it, and then next thing you know, they're talking about data centers and the water, and where they're sourcing the water from different parts of Nigeria. And then I see a documentary about the Nigerian, or not Nigeria, it was like somewhere in Africa, somewhere on the coast of Africa. I can't remember the exact town, but or country, but it was all this dirt and clothes and stuff there that was impacting them because of the waste from Europe and different countries. And also there was a funneling of their water supply to feed these computer systems, right? Same guy did all these documentaries, then started to roll out. And so that piques my interest, because if you're that kind of deep diver, of course he's going to pique your interest because the algorithm knows what you like. Then he went from like talking about general stuff that affects us as a society to honing in on these towns. Now he's going to Minnesota. He's going to Houston. He's going to Cali. He's following the protest. So it went from general knowledge to general world knowledge to very specific political agenda. And then from the political agenda, we see these raids come in. They're snatching people off the streets. And what I would implore you to do, one of my jobs, I was a financial aid advisor for college, and at the tail end of getting like documentation, a lot of students started not bringing in just their passports, but they started bringing in their passport cards. So I would implore you guys, if you want, I wish I can't show you my passport card, but I would implore you, you know how to say, and take copies of your birth certificate or take copies of your passport. Maybe just when you guys are reapplying for your passports, go and get a passport card. They're about this big. They look just like licenses. They are valid. They can be used as real ID, and that is just the perfect thing you can have in your wallet. So if you are taken by ICE, you can say, please just go in my wallet. I have proof of citizenship there, and you can pull out your passport card. So that's what I implore you to do. I have one for my daughter. I have one for myself. So I always carry my passport card on me, and it looks just like a driver's license. And also remember, guys, in May of this year, it's going to be the last time you can use the not real ID issue that were issued during COVID IDs. You have to go and get a real ID. If you aren't getting a real ID, you're putting yourself in very much a dangerous situation, because as you know, with the Gestapo, and let's flip this. Everybody talks about the Gestapos and the Yahtzees and things like that. Do you know they learned this stuff from us? There's a book and there's a movie I actually watched about this. Let me look at the name of it. What's her name? What's the name of that movie? It's about the caste systems in America. Ava DuVernay did a movie about it, I think. It was called Caste, yeah. Oh, it's called Origin. Okay, so if you haven't, this movie is on Netflix, I think, right now. Let me see where you can watch. Okay, Yes, it's on Hulu. It's called Origin. It has my favorite girl, Isabel Book, Anjanou Ellis Taylor. You guys know her. And the same guy from His and Hers. Thank you to the algorithm is in the movie. So the same guy is her husband. His name is John Bernthal, who's like a bootleg what's his name, Robert De Niro, who's loving up all the black women in Hollywood, as you can see. And it's based on a true story. And this is the cover of the movie. You guys probably have seen this cover everywhere. Yeah, click it. Anyway, this is the theatrical trailer. So that movie, and I already knew this kind of like just with reading history. I have the fan on, so make my throat a little dry, guys. Sorry. Drink some water. So, where was I? Okay, so the guy in this movie is the same guy from His and Hers. But so go watch it. He's a great actor. And I remember that movie. And I remember their connection and how beautiful it was. And so this movie is based on a true story. The original book is called The Origins of Our Discontents. And it says, over the film, Wilkerson travels throughout Germany, India, United States to research the caste system. And I remember vividly in the movie, she goes to Germany and she realizes that the German Yazis and all that stuff that we learned in school about how bad the Germans are, guess where they get it from? Oh, not me. Not me. But from the United States of America. They get it from the books. They read our literature. I was just watching a documentary on eugenics and how that started with the guy Kellogg's, the guy who given us our cereal. So start eating the cereal that white people eat, because those probably are the healthier cereals, just so you know. Because if he started eugenics, you think the idea of eugenics just passed down? No, he probably is rating who eats what cereal brands and which cereal brands will be healthier for you based on eugenics. I'm sure it's all relative, right? Neither here nor there. But in the book, she talks about Germany and her exploration there, and realizing that the caste system that they studied was the United States. She goes to India. She realized the caste system there, obviously hundreds and hundreds of years old, but their revolutionary tactics and their progressive ideology comes from what? The 1965 protests with Dr. Martin Luther King. They studied the Black Panthers. They studied Dr. Martin Luther King. And this is what the awakening in India was for the what were their names? They're the darkest of the dark, and they clean the ish off the street in India. Yeah, and they clean all the dirt, and they clean the nasty. They do the dirtiest jobs. They literally have to go in, put their whole body in shit, and like clean it. That and you can't be born. You're born into it, so you can't get out of it with education or things like that. You have to just escape it, right? If you are going to leave, you're going to escape it. But some of them don't even know how to escape it because they're born into it. So that's something that they have a really strict caste system in India. And obviously with technology and cell phones, things are changing. But a few years back, I saw a woman go over there and interview one of the heads or the prime minister of a country in India, a city in India. And she had the experience of like trying to figure out why they were deporting the moms and the dads and putting them in different places, and like doing what we're doing here, like going and saying you're immigrant, you're not a real citizen, even though they've been on that generation and that land for hundreds and hundreds of years. They were doing that to the Indians, and this is outside of the movie that I watched, the Origins movie, talking about the caste system. This is like a completely different. I think it was a ABC News or one of those like big news publication things where there was a woman. She was an Indian journalist. She went to India. She met with the prime minister, and as they're there, they're discussing the impacts of the caste system and how it has affected people getting paperwork, those passport cards I told you guys you need to go get, how it impacted those people and how they weren't able to get their passports. because they never had documentation. They just been on this land for hundreds and hundreds of years. And some people whose parents who have been there, moms have been there, were getting kicked off the lands, literally deported to other countries that they knew nothing about, even though they are also Indians too, and they've been on this land for so long. Because they didn't have the right complexion for protection, they were kicked off their lands, their own lands, and they're down. They have developers coming and building on these lands. Sounds like Gaza, sounds like Palestine. So this isn't just happening in America, right? And if you listen to what the people in Minneapolis are talking about right now, they're essentially saying that they're going through the same thing. They're saying that's a lawless land. They're saying who's here to help, and everybody's like, why Minnesota? Why? Because of Tim Walz. Trump has a naughty and nice list. He's like Santa Claus, and he's passing out not gifts, right? He's giving coal. He's giving gifts to some people, right? To Texas, who's doing what he wants, he's giving his gifts to. Florida, who's doing what he wants, he's giving gifts to, giving a lot of money to. But the states that are not doing what he wants and are defying him, he's giving them shit. He's giving them coal, literally, and that's what you see happening. I didn't see it. Hi, Nomad. And that's what you see happening. And so when we wonder why Minnesota, because of Tim Walz. That's why he wants to take Tim Walz up on legal charges for the obstruction he did in like 1980s in regards to some type of fraud. And you know, Trump has this thing about fraud now because the 32 convictions, not saying they're bullshit, but they're kind of bullshit in the sense where he feel like they're paperwork scams. So they're not there. It's fraud is fraud. It's wrong is wrong. But they're technicalities. So they're like, I wrote a check to this person to bribe this person, which is wrong. Or I wrote a check, I signed this paper and I should have signed that paper. All the charges that he's now trying to trump up on Letitia James or on the new attorney general or the governor of the bank, right? They're trying to get rid of her. He's putting forth, like it goes back to what Warren Buffett said, you don't mess with the bad guy. You don't mess with them because they love litigation. And it's like you open Pandora's box with those 32 convictions. Not saying it wasn't the right thing to do, but once you mess with the bear, you woke the bear. So now that he realized, oh, I can get a felony conviction with these small minor charges of fraud, of me signing the wrong paper here, of me giving a check to bribe somebody, or me doing this and doing that. And these are like behind the scenes, typical normal practices in politics. Wrong, very wrong. But that's what happens in politics. You bribe people, right? You do that. I ain't saying you do that, but that's what people tend to do, right? That's what you hear about with politics. So the fact that he's doing these standard political things that are backhanded and everybody knows it's happening, and he's the one that gets convicted for it. Now he's going after the same people who are doing any little infraction. So if you're doing anything backhanded or remotely wrong, he's here to expose you. And that's why Minnesota. Because in 1980 something, Tim Walz did some type of small minor fraud where they were taking money from the food programs, and he turned a blind eye to it. And Trump wants to bring him up on conviction charges for that. And not only that, he's on the S list because he was the running mate of Kamala, right? And so because he was Kamala's running mate, and also because he has that infraction, he has something to dig at, he's going after Minnesota. And he's not really going after Minnesota. He's going after Tim Walz. And that's what that's all about. So when people say, why Minnesota, why Minnesota? Because the president has vendetta. Why Greenland? Why Greenland? Because Greenland didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize. It's not rocket science. He's not doing this to make America first. He's doing this to make his ego first. Because it's I, me. That's why this is happening. It's less political folklore than sociology or psychological understanding. You can see why somebody's doing this. He's a megalomaniac. That's why. And I think when you picture it like that and read his book, and I looked up his book and looked at different interviews with him and his first wife, and then he has his first wife buried on his property, and then you also fast forward and you look up things like what's her name, Margaret Mabel's, that relationship he had with her, and how, you know, he said he would didn't want to give her $1 million if they divorced, and that kind of folklore about him. And then him also having this juxtaposition of Trump being this lovable guy, this you're fired. He was on our TV shows, and Steve Harvey, who I also referenced earlier in this video, speaks to that. When a person is on your television screen year after year after year, you kind of create a relationship with them, like, hey cousin, and that's how people feel about Donald Trump. So like it or not, even when he's wrong, he's right, because people feel like, you know how sometimes you know your family wrong, but it's like, that's my family and I got their back. That's what people are doing with him. So no matter if he's right or wrong, they see him as somebody who is who helped them, who helped raise them on TV for a couple of years. Especially if you're a young boy and you're watching Trump and he's like, you're fired, and he brings on his son and his daughter, and you're like, it's a family affair. In your mind, you have this parasocial relationship with him, because if you want to believe it or not, Trump has been an influencer. Just like in the same way, Christy Sarah is Christy Sarah, she's saying change her name, is an influencer. Trump is a influencer as well. Except he did his influencing in the 90s through connections, and he did his influencing through television networking, right? Not, this is where we are. So right now, when it comes to that, I think a part of it is he probably wouldn't be this extreme. No, I can't say that. But I don't think he would be as extreme, because he wasn't, right, in his political career early as he is now. But because he's at an older age and those impacts of his aging, I think that's why we're seeing this super extremism in combination with the plan from Project 2025. So I think that all encompassing is why we're seeing such this extreme picture of like pushback. And I think that's why we should like really try to hone in on age limits with our presidents. Like if the average age is 55, then maybe the max age we take in office is 65, and we have to make sure they do evaluations. But again, with this administration, they're pushing the boundaries. They're pushing it back and back to see how far can we go, how much can we get away with, and we're all here just watching and gonna see how far they can get away with it too. I know he's in Greenland right now, and he's having these conversations with NATO. So we'll see how that goes. But I just hope when this is all said and done, for everything I talked about today with Ryan Coogler, with Christie and Desmond, and with Trump, and with the whole the his and hers, even all that ties into it, right? It goes into identity, self-exploration, and who you are at the end of the day, and how you will show up for those you love, how you show up for yourself in the world, and make sure that you're maintaining your MVPs, your morals, your values, and your principles, because at the end of the day, that is all we have, that is all we know, and that is all we can do to impact the world, is show up as ourselves with our best morals, our best values, and our best principles in a way we know how. And when you are going to the voting booth next year or in 4 years, there's also, watch out for those little voting situations where right now in Jersey we have Mikey Sherrill, and she's stepping down. And so now there's those small little voting windows where we have to vote for who's going to take her seat in the Senate, right? So those are the moments where history is changed. Those are the moments where you have to keep an eye on things. You have to put a megaphone up into the microphone so that everybody can see what's happening around you, and reminding people around you that this too shall pass. You know, trouble doesn't last always. And if you look at the history and how things repeat itself, even in the darkest times, you have to find the light. My mom always says, find the good and praise it, right? So in this time of darkness, in this time where you might feel depleted and not yourself and not your best, and you don't know what to do, and you feel like things are troublesome, just try to find the good and praise it. And I think also, what's his name? Mr. Rogers, you know, Mr. Lovely, Mr. Rogers, he also said, just look for the good people, right? Look for the light. And I think that is the message for the day. That is everything I talked about today, from the his and hers. The message in the end is look for the light, look for the good. The message in the Christy and the Desmond situation for both of them is to find the good and praise it, you know. The message in terms of Ryan Coogler is that he is the light and people are following that light, and he's shining the light on things that are impactful and meaningful for him and that he's passionate about. So he's continuing to find his light. And then last but not least, the whole politics and the worldliness of it all when it comes to that realm of it, it's just keep the faith, have hope, and making sure that you stay in the light, stay positive. And I'm gonna leave you with one more thing. What Jim Carrey said. Jim Carrey said that if you are feeling that you are feeling your true authentic avatar, your true authentic part of who you are, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna have deep rest. Don't believe in necessarily just being a depressed person, because if you are depressed, depression just means deep rest, that you need to re-stimulate yourself in order to go out into the world, okay? And that's basically my take for today. I really appreciate you guys. I gotta go get baby girl. We had a good one today. Well, we did about an hour and a half almost, so yeah, we had fun. So go back, watch this live. You go to my link tree, you can find my politic page there. It's kind of like a Finster, because I love talking politics, but I don't want the drama on this page. So all the little political bits are going to be clipped, cropped, and put over on Pretty Politico. But all the other pop culture stuff that we talked about, that's going to be here, so you guys can watch that live back. But in the meantime, in between time, thank you guys for joining me today. It's your girl, Nico Nicole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. I'm on every Tuesdays. We do Tuesdays with Nico. I'm trying to figure out the time. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. So bear with me as we figure out a time. If you guys have an idea what time you guys are available, put it in the chat, put it in the comments below. Just let me know. We'll figure out a good time that works for everybody. I'm trying to shoot right now. I'm trying to shoot for 2, or the earliest, like I've been trying to shoot for like 12:30, right? So we'll see. That's going to be the window, somewhere between 12:30 and 2 o'clock is when I'm going to try to get on here. So in the meantime, in between time, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate our chats today. Thank you for everybody that joined me today in the chat. You guys are wonderful here on YouTube. I swear you guys are, I love YouTube as opposed to the clock app. So I appreciate you guys here. Thank you guys again. I don't even want to leave, but I got to leave. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.